Well, howdy folks, and welcome back to the PI Guy channel. In this video, I will let you in on the secrets of how you can enhance your surveillance skills in the first year. Now hang on before you run off. I know this may sound like a video for beginners, and it is, well, sort of. It is also chock full of useful advice for experienced and veteran private investigators too. I know, as a matter of fact, for myself, I am always learning new things, and many times those new things I learned are from training events, books, and other educational products that are more geared toward the beginner. You see, we should all be lifelong learners, and I know as a lifelong learner, I often miss important things while I am learning other things. My mind is just not built to take it all in all at once and comprehend it all no matter how many notes I take. I do unfortunately have selective hearing. If you don't believe me, just ask my wife, my kids, or my grandkids for that matter. I even found as I was preparing this video, there are things I need to tell you about. Very important things which even I don't always employ. So this video is a refresher for the old PI guy too. If you are a new surveillance investigator, then enhancing your surveillance skills is an absolute must in your first year. And if you are an experienced surveillance investigator, enhancing your surveillance skills over the next 12 months is an absolute must as well. I have found that the magical 12 months, a 1-year time frame, is the best way to measure success, as well to turn as much of the learning I get into actual daily practice. If I give it longer than 12 months, well, then I start to get lazy about things, and I also tend to procrastinate a lot more. If I give it too short of a period of time, then I get frustrated and I try to force things to happen. And trust me, trying to force things to happen out there on surveillance is the best way to really mess up your surveillance. And that is the first lesson we will discuss to help you enhance your surveillance skills. I have seen it so many times, folks, where a new PI goes out, gets all set up, is sitting there waiting for something to happen, and nothing is happening for hours on end. Then the PI decides to double check some things and does drive-bys or walk-bys, protects phone calls or door knocks, and then ends up getting made in the process. Patience is the one main key skill you need to hone and sharpen on a regular basis, folks. Impatience even sets in for me after all these years. I just want to go out, get some action, get some video, and get the day over with. But that impatience has bitten me in the rear more times than not. I remember one case I was on with another PI where his impatience compromised the entire investigation. This was a workers' comp case in a small rural town. The subject was known to be suspicious, and she also had a bit of a sordid past. Her past run-ins with the law and being involved in other similar insurance claims almost assuredly guaranteed us she would be always on the lookout. We had even discussed this in great detail, the other PI and me, and we discussed how we would both observe from a distance, and whichever direction she went, the other PI would follow. So we got all set up. One of us to the north of the residence, about 3 blocks. The other one to the south, about 3 blocks. And there we sat. And we waited. And we waited. And we waited some more. We were utilizing two-way radios for our primary communications, and things seemed to be going pretty good. However, after about 5 hours of no activity, I could tell the other PI was getting nervous and a little antsy. Now this was his case, meaning he was the lead investigator on the case. I was the flunky, the new guy, so he was in charge. I just kept reiterating our plan to stay calm, stay in place, and to wait for things to occur naturally, or organically, if you will. Then all of a sudden, out of the clear blue, I hear over the radio, "This is BS. I doubt she is even inside. I'm going to do a drive-by real quick and see if there are any lights on." I hear that, and I look down the street, and you know what I saw? Yep, I saw the other investigator's surveillance vehicle lights go on, and the car started moving forward. He did a nice slow drive-by. Then he got to the end of the block and he flipped a U and he did another slow drive-by. Then he went and he parked in his regular position. Then I hear on the radio, "Well, that was worthless. I couldn't see anything." And I was like, well, duh, it's the middle of the afternoon. The sun is shining. Did you really expect to see lights on inside the house or anything else. So we sat there and we waited, then we waited some more. After our 8-hour shift ended, we called it a day and we headed home. The next day, we were both out bright and early and we decided to do the same, but we swapped stationary surveillance positions. But this time, the other PI did a drive-by of the residence. Then he parked and then he decided to do a walk-by of the house. After all that, I inquired if he had seen anything and he just replied, "Nope, I doubt she is even there." Finally, after about 3 hours on the second day, we see the subject walking out of the house with an adult male subject. They both walk to a vehicle which is registered to our subject but is parked on the street directly in front of the house. As they were walking to the car, I could tell they were both looking around very suspicious-like, looking up and looking down the street as if they were scanning for something in particular. Then they both get in the car, our subject as the driver, the male as a passenger in the front seat, and they just sit there in the car. They sat in the car for about 3 minutes, which felt like 3 hours. Then suddenly, our subject gets out of the driver's side door of the vehicle and goes back into the house. We are both like, well, she must have forgotten something. Then she comes out carrying an unknown black object in her hand, walking to her car at a faster pace. And the male subject gets out of the passenger side, hops into the driver's seat, and she gets into the driver's side rear seat. Now my heart is really pounding. I am like, what the heck is going on? Then I see the car lights go on, then the car starts to move forward, heading straight toward me all the while. I am just shooting video of what is going on. Then the car suddenly flips a U at the first intersection and starts heading away from me and right toward the other PI. I hear a few expletives over the radio, then dead silence. As I watched my camera screen, I saw the subject vehicle slowly pull up right next to the other PI surveillance vehicle, and out of the rear window I see the unknown black item suddenly appear. She, the subject, is pointing a video camera right at the other surveillance investigator. Then I hear a lot of yelling, see some hands flying out of the subject car with some friendly hand gestures. Then they drive off. The next thing I hear over the radio is, well, I guess we are done for this one. To which I replied, well, I don't think I or my vehicle are burned. He then says, well, I'm calling it. If you want to stay, you can, but I can't. I am way burned. Then he leaves. So I called the client, explained the situation as best as I could, and I let them know I was still set up and secured. The client said, go ahead and stay a few more hours and see what happens. So that is what I did. The subject and the guy did return home, still both looking around suspiciously, but not at any one particular thing. I got plenty of video as they carried groceries into the house, and then they seemed to let their guard down a bit, and they came out, checked the mail, did a little yard work, and sat on the front porch. After the day was over, the client had me finish the case with stationary-only surveillance, and I was able to obtain even more video of the subject. And I got the case back multiple other times with a different second investigator, and I was then the lead on the case. As you can see from that example, patience is a vital part of being a surveillance investigator. I have had many cases where all I ever got was a few seconds of video of my subject, but my patience was rewarded with that small success and the case coming back many times over. So how do you enhance your patience skills, you ask? Great question indeed. First off, make a plan and stick to the plan and tell yourself that plan over and over and over again. Oftentimes my plan is as simple as I am sitting here and I'm waiting all day long if necessary. No walk-bys, no drive-bys. I am just sitting here. Early in my surveillance days, I would actually go out and practice stationary surveillance. Yep, I would go to a grocery store parking lot or a random neighborhood and just hunker down and sit there and capture video of everyone I saw. This not only honed my patience skills, but I also worked on sharpening my video skills too. And then I would edit that video after to work on my editing skills. And after a few hours of grabbing some video, I would pick a random person and follow them home or wherever else they were going. This allowed me to hone in and enhance my following skills as well as my video capturing skills and staying covert skills when we arrived where the person was going. Doing all of those practice runs really paid off. I learned a lot about how people react, how people drive, how people are always looking around, and it made me a lot more comfortable when I had to go out on a regular case. You see, when I got started, surveillance jobs were far and few between. So I used all that time in between paying jobs and put myself through self-taught OJT. The biggest thing I did, though, to enhance my surveillance skills was to take what I did the worst, or the things I dreaded the most, and forced myself to practice them on a regular basis. I did mock surveillances once a week for my first year and well beyond that. And I made myself do close-in stationary work, which I hated back then, and high-speed follows, which I still hate to this day. But that all made me a much better surveillance investigator over the long haul. Now, if you would like to go along with me on a surveillance ride-along, then check out this video.